From actually saying congratulations, you have been hired, to the point of saying sorry, your position is no longer required, this has been a journey of HR handling tough calls, objections, escalations, and God knows what. They have been through what, and in short, we can say that they are the backbone of every company. And today we have such a great person with us on the first episode of Perks of AI Roleplay. We have Shrishti Kumari, who has been an HR recruiter and manager for more than 5 years. And trust me, she has seen all of it. So, Shrishti, welcome to the first episode. I hope you're doing well. Tell us something about yourself and your roles and responsibilities.
Yes, Swapnil, thank you for asking. And yeah, I'm doing well and I hope you're good as well. And yeah, thank you for the introduction that you have given. So to tell you more about myself, so my name is Shristi and I have over 5 years of experience into end-to-end life cycle process, including talent acquisition, employee engagement, performance management, and of course, handling difficult conversation, when it comes to employees. And over the past, over these years, I have closely worked with leadership as well as employee because it's HR is not just, about policy making or policy driven, but it is also about, employee engagement and, how can we do much as people focused solution. So I have, done all of that. And I would say, when it comes to handling difficult conversation, I highly use I actively use on daily basis AI role play because it helps me in getting the difficult conversation done properly with intact to the point conversations because it can be very vague when it comes to handling people. So yeah, it's more of the experience that I have been working on.
Yeah, it's really great that you mentioned AI role play because role play is the kind of future of training. But I still feel like what we can explain people much more with you being here is that how role play is actually involved, especially in the life of an HR. So let's just talk about the three important phases: the onboarding, offboarding, and the managing through crucial aspects of HR. So well, Shri, like you have been in a lot of onboarding calls, a lot of interviews. So how does AI role play helps you at that point, to be prepared for an interview? So what's your experience with AI role play in that scenario?
So I would say, let's say, because of course, we work on so many different profiles, but there are days when, you get a totally fresh job description, right? And instead of, jumping on that call with the candidate just after the getting the JD, it won't make sense, right? So what I do is I kind of, do role play simulation with this JD. And I try to understand that from the employer point of view as a recruiter and as a candidate as well. So what kind of question may come my way from the candidate for that role, or that would help me understand what exactly the employer wants out of this role. So it will give me a breakdown of core responsibilities that are expected from the candidate and what kind of questions may come from the candidate. So I do this role play simulation, and then once I am prepared, and then accordingly I go on the call with the candidates.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I mean, if I say that you guys get JDs probably two, three, four times in a day, and it's not possible to, know everything about a JD just by reading about it. But yeah, it's a very smart move that you guys do. But if we talk about onboarding, there's another term that's called as offboarding, the tough conversations when you have to, talk to an employee who's been there for a very long period of time. So were you in such any incident, and if AI role play at all helped you at any point?
Right. So there are two scenarios which may come into this. One is when we introduce any new policy to employees, because the management can be or the managers can be skeptical about those, or employee will have concern. And there are few departments that are highly impacted with this AI things, or any policy change that happen. So what we do is before introducing these policies to the employee directly, we do the role play simulation again with the help of AI. And then we get the, conversation going around as an employee, what kind of question they may come up with, or what kind of, real-time situation that, they may feel like, having difficulty with. So this role play helps us in understanding what kind of conversation will come to us so that we'll be
Hmm.
prepared and we won't be, reacting, instead of we'll be responding to those situations. And so yeah, that helps again. And when you talk about difficult conversation, so mostly, when there are conversation about termination, because of course, as you mentioned, people who are working from past 6 years, 10 years, they are leaving, right? So they have this, emotional connect with the company. So yeah, of course, in those scenarios, the difficult situation or difficult conversation where AI helps us in. So what I do is again do the AI role play, and I, try to get the questions that may come up, because as an employee, they may come up with question that, hey, this is unfair, or from the emotional point of view, of course,
Yeah,
or they may
sure,
feel
sure.
like why I wasn't, told earlier, or there are many
Hmm.
employees, not to give names or names, but they come up with us and they say that, can I get another chance as well? So of course, you have to be, to the point, to the process, and thoughtful, of course, because these are emotional conversations that are happening. So I do role plays, considering all these situations, and AI role play, of course, helps in giving you how you can navigate through this conversation. And then when I am ready, I go on call with those people and have the conversation with them.
So in short, basically what you're implying is that by using simulation-based training, you are ready for those situations before they even happen in real life. And I feel like as an HR who is most probably the front line of every conversation, the chance of being underprepared, you just rule it out of the box because you are prepared, you have tried this out. But that's really great. So yeah, I mean, you have talked so much about how role play is helping you and evolving you as an HR, improving your skill. So, do you have any recommendation? I mean, for this tool, I mean, since there are many out there in the market.
Of course. Yeah, so while exploring AI, and that was mostly for my upscaling thing, right? Because I on the daily basis have to do these difficult conversation, or to understand the role better, or to understand human behavior better. So I was kind of exploring few things. I got few basic AI tools that are available, but then they are not as per the requirement, I would say. So I came up with this, I got to see this AI, Paradiso AI, role play thing. And I give it a try firstly, but then, it was something that helped me better, I would say, from the, existing one, because it is customizable, right? You can, according to your need, your specification, you can get it customized, which kind of attracted me towards it. So I have been, using that one, like Paradiso AI.
Yeah, because I feel like customization is very important. You cannot apply something very generic. It needs to understand the policies of your company, it needs to understand the process of your company before it even be a part of your company.
Right.
But this has been such a sweet conversation, especially with the member of human resources. And I feel like AI is right now one of the biggest factors when it comes to upscaling and improving your skills and improving the performance and overall, process of the company. But still, on the last note, if you want to leave a message for the viewers, what would it be from the person of an HR?
Right. So, of course, I would suggest every HR who are, my fellow recruiters, or, someone handling people engagement on daily basis, they should be using AI role play, because HR today is not just about, policies and process. It's about, navigating complex human behavior and, conversation. So, I would suggest, you use AI role play to navigate all of this conversation, because it becomes easier for you to understand it before, going on to that conversation, and you won't be reacting, you would be responding, which is of course very critical human behavior to have experience or have understanding of being into an HR. So yeah, that's what would be my last point.
Sure. I think the conclusion message that we want to give out to you is that AI role play is the new modern way of training. It is a new modern way of developing, and I mean, you need to start to use it right now because if you don't, your competitors will, and you will see them scaling. So just start using it. But thank you so much, Srishti. It was a lovely conversation with you, and I hope you had you had a great time, and we'll love to see you again.
Surely, thank you. It was pleasure having conversation with you, and yeah, I look forward to have more conversations.